Welcome to the JD Remedy. What's up, my little love buckets? Welcome back to another episode of the JD Remedy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I have done some really fun stuff on my Instagram this week. And what is this? I'm tapping my hands together like I'm an evil character on a Disney movie. I created a poll on Instagram about whether you think certain scenarios was cheating or not cheating if you're in a relationship. And the results were very interesting, but there is a method to my madness, and I will be talking about this topic, what constitutes as cheating, in this episode. But before we dive in, how the fuck is everyone? How y'all doing? What's going on? I do have a recommendation for you guys. I watched this documentary the other day called Our Father. And if you've seen it, you know how fucking crazy it is. If you haven't, strap yourselves in. It's going to be a wild ride. So, as with all of my recommendations, there are a few spoilers as to what happens. But obviously, because a lot of the stuff that I watch is true crime, you kind of know what happens anyway because it's a true story. But if you've never heard of this case and you don't want the spoilers, you can skip forward a couple of mignolas. But Our Father, it's about an obstetrician who runs his own business, and he specializes in, he's actually the go-to man. What are they called? Like the best in his field. Like he's very well sought after. And yeah, he helps women become pregnant. So he's a fertility specialist. And all the women in this community, he was well sought after. So all the women in this community were going to him. Some of them needed sperm donors. Some of them went with their husbands, and the husbands provided the sperm sample, and they fell pregnant that way. But he had a very high success rate. Everyone that went to him eventually became pregnant. So he was well sought after. He was very prestigious in his field, and yeah, had a great reputation. He was an elder and a leader in a leadership position in his church. He did a lot of stuff with the community and just in the medical field in general. So he was very highly regarded. Now, what happened was one of the children of the couples that fell pregnant started questioning if she was adopted, because both of her parents had brown hair and brown eyes, and all of her siblings had brown eyes, and she had blonde hair and blue eyes. And she said, Mom, if I'm adopted, just tell me, it's okay. No hate, you guys are my parents, whatever. She said, I swear to God, you're not adopted, but we did, however, use a sperm donor. So, we are your parents, but your dad's not your biological father because we used a sperm donor. That's fine. That's what we paid for. That's what we signed up for with this obstetrician, this fertility doctor, or whatever they're called. So it turns out through watching this documentary that this doctor, this fertility specialist, this man that these women came to, and he inserted sperm into them to make them fall pregnant, he was using his own sperm. So they would come to their appointment, he would masturbate in the room next to them, fill up a syringe or whatever they use to inseminate, and come into the room and, how you going? Insert it. The syringe, the sperm in these women. And for some women, they signed up, when you go through a sperm donor, I'm assuming there's so many things that you have to go through because you choose your sperm donor. You choose their DNA, you choose, everything about that specific person. It's not just roll the fucking dice and see whoever you get picked. So they still went through, or are supposed to go through, like a rigid process of which one they want to go with. But they had no idea that the doctor was using his own sperm. And it was heartbreaking because some of the couples, like the females, were going with their husbands. So they were under the impression that their own genetics, their own DNA from both sides of the family were going to be used to create their child. And he was using his own sperm, which I thought was just... So the documentary is just about this whole thing coming to light. And it was heartbreaking because all of the dads were finding out that they weren't their daughters' or sons' biological fathers. And a lot of these kids that were coming forward were like in their 30s and 40s. So imagine thinking for 40 years of your life that that's your child and then finding out that they're not. Some of the stuff that the families were going through. But that's not even the kicker, guys. That's not even the fucking kicker. The kicker is... Let me find it. Spoiler alert. By the time that they finished making this documentary and airing it, these children had found, through using like Ancestry.com and this other website they use in America, they had 94 siblings that had just come forward. So there was probably way more. But the fucked up thing is, they were explaining in the medical field and fertility, like if you use a donor sperm, they're not supposed to use the same donor more than 3 times to prevent the possibility of multiple people in the community being related to each other. So these 94 people are all in the same community. And the kids were saying, like, I have to tell my children to be careful who they go on dates with because you could possibly be related to them. Like, how fucked up is that? Imagine like going out on a first date or being on Tinder and just being like, you may or may not be my brother or sister. Like, oh my God, it was just horrendous. And watching the documentary, like they interview more and more kids as they start finding out, and they just go through this emotional like breakdown. You can imagine thinking you were someone and belonging to some family for like your whole life and then it just being ripped out from under you. It was just so traumatic to watch, and the numbers just kept rising. Like he kept admitting to it and he's like, it's okay. Like I promise there's definitely not more than 10 siblings. I didn't use that much. And then they'd find more and he's like, it's okay. There's definitely not more than 15. And this went on. And the number they concluded whilst they finished filming was 94. 94 siblings. Blows my mind. And the fucked up thing is, they went to court. He obviously got arrested. Well, they couldn't arrest him because it's actually not illegal to use your sperm and inseminate it into someone as a fertility doctor. Apparently that's not a law. So these poor women were outraged. They're like, I feel violated. I feel like I've been raped. Like I didn't ask for this man's sperm inside of me. And apparently like the pillars for rape is like it has to be physical touch and it has to be forced and, you know, like all this shit. And they were like, well, what can you charge him on? And he ended up lying to the police about a few things, and they ended up arresting him for... he was charged with obstruction of justice. That's how they brought him in, and that's how they built the case. But during the court proceedings, the kids weren't allowed to talk about what happened because he wasn't being charged with what had happened in his clinics. He wasn't being charged with the fact that he impregnated multiple women without their consent. So they weren't allowed to bring that up in the case. He was just being charged on the obstruction of justice, which is fucked. So he got a $500 fine and a certain amount of hours of community service. That's it. And all of these families now have to live with their worlds upside down and all this shit. Like it was shocking. I couldn't believe it. I was messaging my partner as I was watching it and I was like, it's up to 20 kids. It's up to 50. Like surely there's no more than 50 siblings in this one town. And then when it finished, I messaged him. I was like, 94. There's 94 fucking siblings that they know about. Oh, it was disgusting. So highly recommend. It's on, I think it's on Netflix, not Binge. It's on Netflix. It's called Our Father. Our Father. So yeah, enjoy. The neighbors are mowing again. Are they serious? Do they wake up in the morning and they just peek in my window and they look at the fucking calendar on my wall and they go, oh, she's filming at this time. Let's just have a cup of tea and wait. Let's relax. I'm not going to start the fucking lawnmower until she starts recording. Okay, let's get into the juicy stuff. So this week's episode, I'm going to talk about what constitutes as cheating. And do you feel like you've been cheated on? And like I said, I did a few questions in a poll format or in like a yes or no on my Instagram, and I'm just bringing it up so I can share the results. But there was a method to my madness. I didn't do this to cause riots in the streets or World War III in your home, and hopefully no divorces came from this. But the point is to start a conversation, whether it's with yourself or with your partner or with your friends. What actually constitutes as cheating for you? Interesting. But here are some of the questions that I went through. If you were involved in the poll, let me know in the comments when I post this in the group. Did you have fun with it? Did it spark a conversation with your partner or yourself? But let's have a look. So this is, what time is it? Cool. So this is like 12 hours after I've posted it. Okay, just in time. So is it cheating if your partner talks to their ex? 75% of you said no and 25% said yes. Is it cheating if your partner watches porn? 82% of you said no and 18% of you said yes. Is it cheating if your partner hides their phone from you? 53% said no and 47% said yes. Is it cheating if they go to the strippers? 26% said yes and 74% said no. Is it cheating if your partner has coffee or a lunch date with their female friend? 6% said yes and no, 94% of you said no. Is it cheating if they like a girl's Instagram photo? 92% of you said no and 8% said yes. Flirts with other girls, 63% of you said yes and 37% of you said no. Is it cheating if your partner buys a girl a drink at the club? 56% said yes and 44% said no. Is it cheating if your partner subscribes to someone's OnlyFans account? 69% said yes and 31% said no. Is it cheating if your partner has female friends? 94% said no, 6% said yes. Is it cheating if he sleeps in bed with his female friend? 76% said yes, 24% said no. Kisses their friend on the cheek? 84% said no and 16% said yes. And is active on dating apps? 96% of you said yes and 4% said no. Is it cheating if they tell someone else they have feelings for them? 98% of you said yes, that's cheating. 2% said no. Is it cheating if your partner slides into someone else's DMs? 85% of you said yes. Is it cheating if your partner deletes messages from someone on their socials? 79% of you said yes. Is it cheating if your partner hooked up with someone whilst they were on a break? 39% of you said yes and 61% said no. And I put a little Ross emoji in there for friends link if y'all get it. Is it cheating if your partner still talks to someone they used to hook up with? 43% of you said yes and 57% said no. Is it cheating if they pay for a lap dance at the strippers? 51% said yes and 49% said no. There we go. Interesting. If you missed that poll, make sure you're following me on my Instagram account, Jade Delpup Coaching. I do a lot of interactive stuff on there, and it was kind of cool to get your guys' input and perspective before I filmed today. But the point of that is there is no right or wrong answer. Absolutely not. Every person individually and every relationship will have its own boundaries, its own limits, its own quote unquote rules, whatever you're both comfortable with individually and as a couple. So I really thought it was important to, one, ask the question because it opens the conversation. It starts you thinking, maybe I've never thought about that scenario before. How would I be comfortable in that scenario? And it was really interesting because I have a lot of couples or friends that are dating that follow my page, and they both filled out the poll and they had different answers. So obviously I'm not going to share the answers, but I just thought it was interesting to bring the topic up so maybe you can start thinking about what your answers would be. And maybe it's a conversation starter if you brought it up with your partner who's sitting next to you, like, hey, let's fill out this poll together. And if you have different answers, you're like, wait a minute. And just for context, my partner filled this out and he said, no, it's not cheating if you get a lap dance at the strippers. And I messaged him straight away and I was like, boy, you better not be getting fucking lap dances at the strippers. So that was great. That was a good conversation starter. It backfired on myself. No, I'm kidding. It didn't backfire. It was a great conversation. So, maybe we never would have had that conversation. The point of this is it saved me having a meltdown finding out that my partner went to the strippers and got a lap dance because it would have already happened. Now he knows that his balls would be cut off if he actually let a female grind on his penis. No disrespect to the sex industry or strippers. I think they're fucking sexy. You do you, girlfriend, just not on my boyfriend. Go for gold. But, that's just not my vibe. Don't do it on my man. Do it on everybody else. You shake your ass for money, girl. Fucking I may even be there throwing dollar bills at you, but not my man, okay? Anyway, off topic. But the point of this topic is I'm trying to empower you girls to set boundaries, to have the conversation, and they can be uncomfortable conversations. I think a lot of us want to seem cool or we want to be liked, especially if it's a new relationship and someone you've just met. Maybe you hate the idea of your man going to the strippers, but you don't want to be like that uncool girlfriend that's like, you're not going to the fucking strippers. Like, fuck that. If you're not comfortable with that and you have a healthy relationship where you can talk things through and your man listens and you're both reasonable, like maybe you come to a compromise. I don't know. This probably wouldn't happen, but maybe you go with him, or maybe he only goes for a bucks night and not for a fucking Friday night drink. You know what I mean? So there can be compromise, but the point of this poll was to, one, start the conversation for yourself and with your partner if you have one, or future potential partners. But I want to empower you guys to have conversations about it. You'll know if you're uncomfortable with something. If you get jealous easily, or you're just uncomfortable with them having a really close relationship with an ex, or they're constantly texting someone they used to hook up with, or I don't know, what are some other scenarios? They watch porn all the time, but you just are not comfortable with that. Whatever the situation is, and there's probably heaps of different scenarios that happen that I didn't put on those polls. But my point is, if it makes you uncomfortable, talk about it. And it doesn't have to be from an angle of, I don't want you to do this anymore, like you're barking orders at them or you're telling them how to live their life, because obviously, everyone can do whatever they want, but you have to respect each other. So start the conversation with, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. Can we talk about it? And that doesn't necessarily mean it'll change, or I hope it does if you have a nice partner, but it starts the conversation and you want to be heard. Maybe some of the stuff you're worried about is coming from a previous place of hurt, distrust, and trauma, or whatever it is. So are you projecting some of that past onto your current partner. So what I'm trying to get at is, can you have that open conversation with your partner, and can he reason with you, or can he, I don't like the word calm you down, but can he help you see a different angle, or can he help you build that trust up again? I think, and again, there was no judgment on these polls. Like, it was interesting because most of my friends filled the poll out, and I knew exactly what their answers were, because some of them have been through traumatic experiences. One of them has been a stripper before. So she was like, hell yeah, my man can go get a stripper. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's completely different depending on what your lifestyle is, what your trust level is, how you're connected to your partner, or how you want to be connected to your partner. I know if I filled that poll out, how old was I when I was in that relationship? Wow, I'm old as fuck. If I filled out that poll 15 years ago when I was in that very traumatic relationship, my answers would have been very different, very different. And it's interesting relationship by relationship. Like, I have slept in a bed with a friend while I had a partner. No worries. My partner also slept in a bed with a friend when I was with him. No worries. Like, would there be some partners some of my exes that I wouldn't even let stand in a room with another fucking female? Yes, because I didn't trust them. Do you know what I mean? So depending on the person, depending on how much work you've done or want to do, I think the answers to those poll questions will be different. And I think we don't really know what scenario we're going to be in until we meet someone new, or we have a different boyfriend and they may do things differently to your previous partner. Maybe they have more boy nights. Maybe they go to the strippers for fun. You know, maybe they have a porn addiction. Maybe, you know, like, you come across different scenarios and different challenges with new partners as you meet new partners. And it's important for you, because you're not going to change. Like, who you are as a person, your values, your beliefs won't change, but who you date will. Or maybe you're in a long-term relationship and it's possible for it to evolve and grow. So having that open communication and trust from the beginning is super important. So if there is something that makes you feel uncomfortable, or if there is something that maybe triggers something that happened to you in the past, you know, maybe you had a partner that cheated on you at a strip club. I keep using the strip club because I think it's like a very common but intense, very divided by the poll, very divided example. So I'll keep using it. But maybe something happened to you with that example, you know, and a new partner may not ever dream of cheating on you. So have that conversation of, hey, like, I just want to let you know I feel a little bit uncomfortable when you go to the strippers, not only because I was cheated on last time my ex went there, but I just don't really appreciate you looking at other naked women. And it could be as simple as that, and depending on what he has to say back. Or maybe it's just, I don't mind you looking at naked women. I look at naked men all the time. So I just maybe need some reassurance from you, or just send me a text when you get there and let me know you're thinking of me. That's it. Like, cool, have your boys' night, but text me when you get there. Like, what are your rules? What are your conditions? Not rules, but what do you need to feel okay in that moment? And again, it's not a punishment for your partner who has not broken your trust and is loyal to you. It's empathy and respect between each other, where your partner can go, of course, baby, like, I'm going to go to the strippers because it's my mate's bucks night and I want to go. Like, not for the strippers, but, you know, that is fun, but I want to go with the boys. Like, I want to be a part of this experience and this memory and this celebration. So I'm going to go, but what can I do to make you feel better about this? Do you need me to give you a call before we go? Do you want me to tell you when we're leaving? Like, what is it? I'm still going to go and be with the guys, but what can I do to make you feel better? And it's the same in reverse. If you have a partner that has had that history and maybe you're really confident and you're really loyal and they have been cheated on, you know, it can be reversed, right? maybe we've done a lot of self-work and growth, and we've worked through our past and we've released all of that shit. How can we make our partners feel better about things? You know, how can we still want to go on dates with our guy friends and talk to our ex and watch porn or whatever it is so that they feel comfortable? You know, and I think it can go so many different ways, and not a lot of people have strong communication skills. I think especially if you've come from a toxic relationship where you were never heard, you weren't allowed to speak, you didn't have a voice, you just got yelled at all the time, I can understand why it would be hard to voice your opinion, but you got to try. You got to start somewhere. And if you try and you're shut down, I'm not going to tell you what to do in your relationship, but I feel like that's another red flag, and you deserve to be heard, and you deserve the respect, at least, to be heard and have a conversation about it, because it doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to do what he wants, but there needs to be some sort of compromise and respect, in my opinion. So, yeah. So, for you, if I said what constitutes as cheating, I think cheating isn't always physical, right? Cheating doesn't have to be a physical act where they physically cheat on you. You know, anything where your trust is broken. Are they messaging someone else? Have they told someone else they have feelings for them? You know, are they saying stuff behind your back? It's like cheating is breaking that trust. So whatever breaks your trust, where you feel that you can no longer trust them, they've cheated, right? There's emotional cheating. There's physical cheating. It goes in a numerous amount of ways. So make sure that you have a full understanding of what your boundaries are, what you're comfortable with. And the hard thing is, unless you explore every possible scenario that there is, which is probably impossible to do, you're probably going to have the hard conversations once something has happened that you're uncomfortable with. So for example, you'd never heard this podcast, and they went to the strippers and they got a lap dance, and you have never had that conversation before. In his mind, maybe he doesn't feel like he's cheating on you. Maybe he doesn't feel like he's disrespecting you because he's like, oh, this is normal. Like maybe his ex let him do it. And then he comes home and talks about it because he's not hiding it from you. Winner. You go, what the fuck? Why would you get a lap dance? Like, that's fucked. You just cheated on me. So it's about having that conversation of, okay, I'm really upset that you did that, but obviously we have never spoken about this before. I would appreciate it if you didn't do it again, because it makes me feel really uncomfortable. It makes me feel like you've broken my trust. Like that's another woman's body. Like whatever your reasoning is, you have to unfortunately have the conversation once it's already happened. But again, if you come from you know your partner better than me. If you come from the mindset of, were they doing this intentionally to be a fuckboy and cheat on you? Like, do they really have no respect for you? They go around fucking all these people. Like, they go get lap dances every week. Like, or, you know, was it just a one thing and he genuinely didn't know it would hurt your feelings? Like, I think we are smart enough and we're in tune with our gut, females, enough to know when a guy is being a piece of shit and he genuinely didn't know that he did anything wrong until he saw how upset you were. Do you know what I mean? And that's a call that only you can make. So be prepared for those kind of conversations. And I think the first conversation is always a benefit of the doubt, except for physical cheating. Like if your boyfriend went and fucked someone else, like that's not, oh, I thought that was okay. No, unless you've like entered into a open relationship, you know, that's a whole other conversation. But like that's just the average relationship, two monogamous people committed. Talking about maybe the emotional stuff. Emotional cheating is very tricky because it does not have any strict guidelines. Like physical cheating is hooking up, you know, kiss, sex, whatever. So yeah, it can be tricky, but just understand, give them the benefit of the doubt and say, let's have a conversation about this. I do feel hurt. You know, I do feel like you've broken my trust. Do you understand that? And if he's like, fuck, I had no idea. Like, I'm so sorry. I thought that was chill. I will not do that again. Then cool, moving right on. But if he's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm going to fuck whoever I want. I'm going to go to the strippers. Like, it's not cheating. Maybe, like, I don't really believe that people need to change their values to suit someone else. Like if you're physically cheating on people, that's awful. Go be in an open relationship with someone that doesn't mind that. But I don't think that you should have to push down your boundaries or get rid of them completely, or silence your uncomfortable feelings or the voices in your head that's like, I'm not okay with this, just because your partner doesn't agree with it. And no hate to anyone like that does the emotional cheating. It's just you have different opinions on what is okay in a relationship and what isn't. And if you can't agree on boundaries in cheating, there's going to be a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. So that's something you have to get absolutely clear on, because it can get messy and nasty. I'm actually going to film an episode next week about what to do if you've been cheated on. So it's like your survival kit to being cheated on, because it is awful, and yeah, and why we stay and all that kind of stuff. It's just, can't fit it in this episode. There's too much. But I hope this week's topic was an interesting one for you. I'm actually going to start opening my Instagram and Facebook pages for like Q&A. So if you have a situation that you're dealing with, whether it's with a partner, someone you're dating, an ex, just yourself, like self-love stuff. If you have any challenges right now, send them to me when I put up the post, and I will talk about it on the podcast. Not like in terms of like how you should proceed or what you should do, some advice, some lovely friendly advice from a qualified coach. Happy to help. And it may be that something you're going through, someone else is also going through and actually needs help with at the time. That's what I've always thought. I always ask questions on courses and like group calls and stuff like that, because you never know if someone's going through the same thing and they're just too scared to ask or reach out for help. So be that person. You know, I love helping people. So send me your questions. Keep an eye out for the posts in the Facebook group and my Instagram stories. So thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I hope you loved today's episode. If you want to find out more, follow any upcoming content or polls or questions or anything you want to further engage, you can follow my Instagram account, which is Jade Delpup Coaching. I will leave it in the show notes for you. In there, you'll find a Linktree link in my bio that just has my YouTube, the Facebook group I'm talking about, and everything else you need to get in touch with me. So yeah, come follow me, say hi, let me know how you went. If you had any super aha moments or wins or any clarity from this episode, I would love to know about it. I'll post it in the Facebook group and let me know in the comments. But until next week, hope you guys have an amazing day or night whenever you're listening to this, and I'll see you next week. Bye!